Okay, and we are live. Hello, beautiful women. Those of you who are watching, hello. Hope you're good today. Here in Cape Town, it's a beautiful sunny day. Samantha, how is it where I feel like I'm on a news broadcaster? How's the weather over there?
So the weather today is mild. It's a particularly good summer's day in England, where it's very grey, but it's very warm. So it's pretty normal.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, so for those of you who are watching now, while you are watching, if you have any questions, then do feel free to ask. And otherwise, if you're watching on replay, you can also ask questions and we will get back to you and let us know if you are watching this in replay. And yeah, so today we are talking to Samantha from the Brand Connection.
Hello.
Hello, so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And so Samantha's going to be our guest speaker for our event next Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. South African time, and that's 6:30 p.m. UK time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to be talking about Uncover Your Brand Archetype. So before we get there, I'd love to know from you, I'm always interested as to how we kind of arrive at this point in our lives. I think particularly as women, we don't always plan sort of to be where we are. And there's so many different journeys, ways, paths that kind of bring us to where we are now. Yeah. So I'm going to hand over to you, and I'd love to know from you how you got to where you are now, and then also just tell us a little bit about where it is that you are now and a bit more about your business.
Sure, thank you. Sure. I 100% agree with you that the journey is fluid often, but it's never planned. I have this theory that I can't plan further than 2 years because life always changes so much. So when people say a 5-year plan, I'm like, hey, alive, happy, well, that's my plan. But I was quite creative when I was younger, and I just wanted to get into a creative field. So I studied graphic design and art and visual, and part of that was understanding marketing and advertising, but it was more the creative side of things. So I started my career as a graphic designer, and I then eventually became an art director for a magazine in South Africa. Child magazine, I'm sure it's still going, but it's a publication, a free publication that hits all the sort of tier 1 schools there. And my role was looking after the creative side, but also working hand in hand with the sales and editorial team so that we created pictures. So worked alongside brands like Monsoon, Woolworths, Pick n Pay, so quite a few different big brands within South Africa to create obviously revenue income for the magazine. From there, then we decided to up and leave and move to the UK. So my daughter was 2 at the time, and I think my mum lives here, my nan lives here, and I just needed a change. I think I'd gotten to the end of my tether. I was just had enough. I wanted a change, and I thought, why not just branch out? So we got on a plane, packed our lives up into like 4 suitcases. We didn't even do the cargo ship thing. We're just like, padding everything. Came across here. And at that point, I was working for myself. So I was just doing kind of like ad hoc graphic design and some typesetting work and doing a few ad campaigns for a couple of independent businesses. But I found I got really, really lonely. So working on my own after having this huge, South Africans are very friendly, very open. Coming to a country that's generally quite closed and quite cold, takes a bit of time to warm people up. I just felt so unbelievably alone. So I decided to go back to work, and I landed a role doing something I just actually didn't think I would ever enjoy. But it was an area manager for a weight loss company. So one of the largest weight loss companies here in the UK. And my role was specifically around sales growth and basically revenue. So it was helping and working with independent business owners to go into their businesses and help them to really kind of market it, to improve their service, to improve everything so that they became really profitable. So that was an interesting role. It was very dynamic, lots of different personalities. I mean, I came in all guns blazing, and I'm working with some people that have been doing the same thing for 20 years. So it was like challenging, but it was great because I love working with people and I love seeing people kind of succeed. So to see the change and what happened to the area like was amazing. So within a year, I was pulled up on stage for being one of the top 5 teams in the company, and we're looking at 426 teams in the company. So got them on side really quickly, worked a lot with PR, marketing in the local area, understanding, helping people to promote their business. And then from there, I did another life change.
As it happens.
I know, I got to so that's when I was like, right, I need a divorce. I need to get out of here. My daughter was 6 at the time. Like, I need to change my life because I was working evenings, I was working weekends, and I couldn't do it anymore. And our marriage kind of had cracks in it before we moved over here. And then coming over here, it was just like chasm. So I was like, right, pulled the cord there. We got divorced, and then I found a full-time job because I was technically self-employed previously for the other company, but very self-managing. And so I found a 9-to-5, and this was marketing manager for a skincare company that was launching into the UK. Really interesting because I kind of signed on the dotted line and I didn't really know what I was marketing or what I was doing or what I was looking after because everything was under NDA. Got in there and had a whale of a time, had such a great time, just launched the brand to market. Within a year, we were looking at the $1 million turnover. Within 4 years, we were in 5 different territories. And just before the pandemic, we were currently funding the opening of the USA, which was going to be our largest market. So had a great time. I spent a lot of time flying around the world, spent a lot of time in Toronto, worked on the global senior leadership team, and really just got to the grips of how to work with a B2C and B2B brand. Also was in the process of an entire rebranding at that point. So it was really fascinating. And then boom, got the call saying, get your laptop and go straight home. So came in from the photography studio, picked up my bits and bobs, thinking I'd be home for 2 weeks, and then I never went back. So I know. So we had furlough here, and I was really gifted time. For me, that was a real gift. So last year, my daughter she's 11 now, and she's been in care since she was 4 months old because I've been so career focused. I've never had time at home with her, and it's been fine. But within the first 2 months of furlough, I realized what a huge impact it was for her to be away from home and how much she was embracing being with me and just having that quiet time where she could actually enjoy her space and enjoy her room and just be at home. It was like a transformation for her. And I thought, right, I've got to do it now, because I've been thinking about going out on my own again. I was just like, oh, there's something. I was in the middle of a degree and I was like, oh, I'll do it then, and then I'll get another job here, and then I'll get experience there. But after seeing that, I was like, right, that's it. It's time for freedom now and time for her to be home. She's going into senior school, so I want her to be able to have the flexibility to use her home as a home and not just a space to sleep. And so I was like, right, I'm going to take this risk. My family were like, what are you doing? Don't do it. I was like, no, I'm going to do it. It's now or never. So I went through, they were doing like a restructure and a redundancy process in the office. So I went right through that redundancy process and I launched my business September last year. So 11 months in. It'll be my first anniversary next month.
And so happy anniversary.
Thank you. So I was really lucky, again, very blessed. So I had a few referrals of people that I'd worked with in the local area, and I picked up a few marketing jobs straight off. But I was realizing that it's just not what my passion is. It's not what my purpose is. And when I was in corporate, I used to really get feelings of anxiety. I was waking up in the morning, especially here in winter. It's like pitch black, it's dark. I'm going in, dropping my daughter off at school. I'm going to work and I'm thinking, like, what am I doing? I'm stressed out, so stressed out. By the time I get home, I'm exhausted. We don't have any time. And all I'm doing is selling stuff to people that they don't necessarily want or need. Like, this doesn't feel right with me. And I think that's probably why I always avoided going directly into the marketing route, because it felt so disingenuous and it felt really like fat catty, just raking money off people, and it didn't align with my values at all. And I landed up doing a whole lot of jobs, and it's fine. Like, it was supporting smaller independent businesses, but again, I was doing things that didn't bring me joy, and it's not my sweet spot. It's actually not even my skill set. I've got enough knowledge about it and I can do it, but I can't really throw myself into it. So I decided to stop and go through an entire rebranding. So this was about 4 or 5 months in. I just stopped everything. I put a pause on. I kind of kept a couple of clients that I know, like, we built beautiful relationships with, so I wanted to keep them going, but I stopped everything else. And I said, right now I need to do what I have seen work so well in other businesses. And I went through the entire rebranding process for myself. I figured out exactly like what my purpose was, what my vision, what my values are, aligning everything. And so I restructured my entire business to focus on branding for female entrepreneurs, service-based entrepreneurs, primarily coaches, because if I could support women who are supporting women have the quality life that they want through their business, then I've done something worthwhile. And so that's where I am now. I work primarily with coaches. I've got a couple of service providers, but it's about helping women just to take their business from a business and build a brand around it and create a springboard and a foundation for every other business decision that they have. And that, far more aligned.
I love that. And I mean, I must say, it's something that I also work with a lot is that, like, for me, that first step, and the step that helped me get clarity also about kind of what I was wanting to do, was to have that vision and to have the purpose.
Absolutely.
And because it's like, those are the two things also that, as you know, that firstly, it helps you get a lot clearer on what you want, but then whatever you do is in alignment with your vision and with your purpose, as opposed to kind of just going along and not really knowing. And when things come up, it's so much easier to go, okay, yes, that is in alignment with me because that's in alignment with my vision. So kind of, that's good, that works.
I love this. This makes me happy.
Yeah, no. And also, as you say, like, finding the joy, because, you know, I mean, that's really also what my woman tribe is about. It's finding the joy and it's finding the alignment, because it's like, why else are we here if not to create the business that we want to create and that works for us and that's in alignment with our values and what it is that we want to create in the world and the life that we want to have for ourselves. Absolutely. So I love that you also, you know, your daughter kind of led you to creating the life that works for you and for what you want from your life. So
absolutely.
Awesome, and well done.
Thank you. I think anyone that goes through it is really brave. So for you to sit there and say that you've worked out, you know, you worked out your vision, because I always, when we get to this piece of work, which is like the first piece of work, we can't move on until this is done. It's about taking money out of the equation. It's about taking all of that out of the equation, because when you're thinking about that joy factor, money is a conduit to joy. So it's what actually lights you up. If you were, you know, if money literally grew on trees and you were picking it off all the time, there was an abundance of it, why would you get up and work? So I think that's really important. But as women, we are so easy for us just to take on and take on and take on. And it's difficult for us to say no. But knowing what is aligned with you and what's not aligned with you, you have to turn away some potential financial opportunities to find the joy. And it's scary and it's brave. I really take my hat off to anyone who's had to make that decision.
Absolutely. And I'm thinking about one of our members now who, if she's watching, she'll know who she is, who's at the moment in this place of, she sent me a message just the other day saying, I just said no to another 2 people, you know, like, woohoo, well done.
I know.
Because it's not what she's wanting to do, and it's not in alignment, and it takes such courage and the trust to go, that is not what I'm wanting to do, so I'm not going to carry on doing that. And really know that by saying no, you're saying yes to something else.
Absolutely.
Well, fair otherwise we just say yes, and it just, the things we don't want come, and we don't realize why.
And then you land up unhappy. You're doing work that, like, you're going to end up in burnout because you're doing things that don't, like, bring you joy. And well done to your member.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk. So uncover your brand archetype. So I'll tell you, I'm actually in the process of doing a course. It's called a Genius Coach course. Okay. And within that, it's about discovering your genius archetypes, and also looking at your shadow archetypes, and finding the blueprint for your shadow archetypes so that your genius archetypes can really be discovered and be the ones kind of leading, so I love that. I'm kind of in this archetype.
You're in the zone.
I'm in the zone. I'm in the archetype, and So, and I love the the idea of your brand archetype as well. So can you just speak a little bit to that and what that actually means?
What it is and like why it's important, I suppose, is a good one. So archetypes are just a way of creating a person. It's humanizing. It's creating a character profile, essentially. It's based off the work of psychologist Carl Jung. And there are 12 basic archetypes. And with those, they're all driven by different motivations. So there's 4 major motivations. And what this is, it's a way to create a story and create a character that gets people to buy into your business through emotion. Like you intrinsically start aligning with those character archetypes. So if you think about anything, I suppose, when you love a story or a character, if you love a brand, give me a brand that you love to use every day, what would you say?
You're putting me on the spot now.
Give me what's your grocery shop of choice? Let's try that one.
Well, I go to like the organic route.
Okay, so we like organic, and that's because you know that it's going to be good for you, it's healthy, it's more sustainable, you know that it's more probably naturally sourced. There is a feeling that you get from going. If you go into like a larger supermarket chain and there was just the word organic on it, you might not have that same feeling when you go into your local independents. That is your brand archetype. That's that character profiling. It's because of the way that you align with it. You emotionally align with your brand. So what brand archetyping is, it's a way for you to decide or define through really relevant questions, like I said, based on psychologist work. So through really relevant questions, you start to figure out exactly how you align and who your brand archetype is so that you understand who you are to the world. And I think it's really important because people relate to people. We attract and we repel people just based on our natural personalities. And it's the same for brands. So if you are, you can take it one step further as well. So if you're trying to attract a certain type of person, you can profile them. Go, right, okay, well, actually, they probably, let's say they're the everyman or the citizen or the hero or the jester. So you can start to tailor, you understand who you are as a brand archetype, you could relate to them and then tailor your communications and your messaging towards that so that you can start to draw those people in. So it's a really great way for us to create a story around our brand that creates emotion to your viewer, your audience, your client. And it's what keeps people coming back because they feel like they relate to you. And we see it time and time again. If you see a brand where it's just a stock, buy this, we're doing this, Saturday's this, oh, there's this, selling this, you don't feel connected to it at all. But if you start to see something that's of value and you're going, okay, well, actually that particular brand really, they spend a lot of time investing in modern day slavery. They're planting trees on Arbor Day. They are, doing a lot within the community. You start to feel more aligned with that. And that's a story that they're telling you. And it's the behaviors that they're telling you because that's what's important to them as a brand. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
I can talk about it around about so many different ways. So I struggle to get to the point.
No, it makes complete sense. And I think one thing that, as female entrepreneurs who have our own businesses, I think one thing that is so difficult is firstly, what's the word? Yeah, getting clear on one's brand, and then also knowing how to speak to your clients, how to, and to do it in a way, because then everyone says, be authentic, be authentic, be authentic. And it's like, well, you try to be authentic, but also how do you then market authentically? Because that sometimes isn't so easy
disconnected.
Yeah, it's disconnected. And then also there's other people saying, oh, well, you must do this and you must do that and you must do that. So now you're doing that, but that doesn't feel so good for you. So
it's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard.
And I think it definitely, I can see how it would definitely help understanding more exactly your archetype, and then so being clearer as to actually how you function. and
what
who
I've noticed, yes, and what I've noticed as well is that when people go through this process, because we've done like generally in the branding process, brand strategy, this is kind of like the sixth piece that happens. So we've done all the things that you've spoken about. So you really start to feel aligned with you and your purpose. And as entrepreneurs, it's also, I think sometimes when you're thinking about bigger business, you think that you have to separate who you are to your business, but actually that's not true. Like your values are your values, and that is what built your business. So that is okay. And when we get to this particular part, then I find that people actually lean into it a lot more. They go, right, do you know what? I relate to this. This feels right. I'm okay to stand up and use this language, and I'm okay to start finding out, like, and it's a big thing, is finding your language dictionary, you know, finding your vocab, finding your phrases, finding your words, making sure that those words are always in some form of your communication. That is how you start to bring that personality through without being afraid. And it also allows you not to look around and go, well, that person's doing that, I need to do that. Or that person, you can look around for inspiration, but you know that this is my dialogue, this is my message, this is my language, and this is who I'm showing up as, and it's awesome. Like, it's okay.
So empowering. And so, so powerful when you do. You really, you embody who you are. Exactly. And the message that you're wanting to convey.
Exactly. And it's like personality profiling. You know, if you think that your business needs to be humanistic for people to relate to it, that's the bottom line in all marketing. You know, if you look at creating copywriting, if you look at creating a brand that's memorable, it's all about creating stories. So ultimately your business has to be a human, and a lot of the time women don't want to be that person. So you take like facets of yourself, that is, you know, the foundation of your business, but you can step away from it, because once you've created this and you've created the person, you can then, if you have a VA or if you like stepping out for marketing, you create this, you hand it over, and they have got the guidelines to be able to replicate, and so the brand grows. There's so many brands that have been built off people. If you think, you know, Richard Branson, Virgin, he is the epitome of his brand, and his brand's all about the rebel and the adventurer. So he, you know, you can see it through and through. So it's a way for people to create something bigger that comes from what is important to them, but not allowing them to, you know, they can step away from it as well.
Cool. I'm looking forward to learning more and going, kind of deep diving into it more. So for those who are watching, so for our event next Wednesday night, so what can we expect to learn and walk away with?
Okay, amazing. So what we'll do is we'll take you through the history of archetyping and how it's come into branding. It will also, I'll give you a little bit of a synopsis of why branding is so important for your business. Doesn't matter what size of the business. And then we'll do a brand personality test. So we'll go through your archetype. So it's 10 questions. I'll get everyone to do it on the call. And then once we have answers, then I'll explain a bit more about brand archetype before we deep dive into theirs, because I don't want to say anything before you do the test, because you can be swayed either way. So we'll do it then, and then I'll go through all the brand archetypes and show you all of that, and then we can have a powwow about yours, and really, like, if you have any questions, we can workshop how you can start to introduce it into your business tomorrow, the next day. So I think that would be the main things. They'll walk away with knowing who their brand personality is, and maybe have some top tips on how to start implementing it straight away.
Awesome. Brilliant. Sounds great.
And if anyone has anything else that they'd like to know, or any questions, if they just pop it into the Facebook group, I'll keep my eye on that thread, like, where you've put it in, and I'll make sure that I've included that into the slide deck as well. We'll have that.
Okay, great. And just for those watching and who haven't been to our guest speaker events before, normally, it will depend on how many people, but they're normally quite intimate. And so everyone actually really gets a chance to ask a question and, really interact as well. So
that's good.
So I'm looking very forward to learning more and discovering.
And I'm looking forward to being with everyone. Yeah, I love workshopping. It's fun.
Cool. Good. Great. So thank you so much for being here today. And for those, if you, like I said, those of you watching the replay, if you do have any questions at all, you want to know more, then you can either send a message to me or just put it in this post. And I will also post a link to the event next Wednesday evening. And hope to see you there.
Yes. Thank you, Bianca. I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Cheers. Goodbye.